look so much taller than you.
I'm telling my legs crossed, I don't know.
Move that, Louise, not the whole thing. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So, as you can see, we have Steve here because, as promised, we're going to film a Q&A video today and answer all of your questions. Before we get started, let's talk about the new setup, because I got gifted a ring light from 𝑘𝑠 and it is life-changing. It's gonna be perfect for us because obviously when it gets dark, like it's after work now, we've got a lot of stuff going on and trying to juggle loads of stuff. Filming in the evening isn't always ideal, and to be honest, I was a little bit dubious because how many ring lights have I been through?
Several ring lights.
Every single ring light I've ordered, I've absolutely hated. But yeah, 𝑘𝑠 reached out, asked if they could gift us one, and I'll put in some clips because it's really, really cool. The main issue that I've had with my ring lights previously is that they were just crazy bright. They were like bleaching me out, just way too bright, really intense. But this one actually has like a little touch screen on it. You can adjust it, like adjust the amount of light that comes out of it. You can dim it right down so it's not as crazy intense, but you can also change like the color tone on it as well. So I'll link it down below, the one that I got. Yeah, honestly really, really chuffed with it. And that's one thing that's always a bit of like a pain for us, is like filming in the evening because the light is obviously not ideal. So this is like a really, really handy piece of tech. Is it tech?
Yeah,
equipment.
Definitely.
So I've written down all of the questions on one note because I asked over here on YouTube. I also asked on my Instagram as well. Knowing me, you know how extra I am, I've like categorized everything as well.
How many questions?
There's quite a few. Most of the questions are about house stuff, but there are a couple of like relationship work questions as well. So I'm going to start with those ones. Steve's not actually seen any of these.
I always go into these Q&A videos blind. I have no idea what's going to happen, but yeah.
Yeah, I like to ask you on the spot. So yeah, a couple of relationship questions. First one is, who wears the trousers in the relationship? I'm going to give you 2 seconds to take a guess, and I'll give you a hint. It's me. Yeah, so I'd say that like I probably wear the trousers in the relationship.
There's something wrong with what you've just said there.
What?
You said probably.
Oh.
She definitely wears the trousers in our relationship.
Yeah, I definitely do. Yeah, I'd say like personality type, I'm quite, not controlling, that's a bit extreme, but I'm quite organised. I like to get stuff done. I'm a bit more like that, whereas you're a bit more laid back with stuff.
Yeah.
So I feel like when it comes to making decisions around the house and stuff, it kind of like falls on me a bit more, just because I'm more that personality type. Yeah,
I mean also as well, like in the renovation especially, you're much more design minded than I am.
Shh, you're going to ruin a question for later.
Okay, I shall stop speaking.
Next up is, who is most romantic or spontaneous? I've actually had a bit of time to think about this. This is a hard one. What do you think?
I'd say you, because I don't think I have a spontaneous bone in my body.
I wouldn't say either one of us is particularly romantic or spontaneous.
I think that's fair.
But I think for us, like the whole romance thing, I think both of us would rather... Stop smiling at me. Both of us would rather have like a really solid day-to-day foundation than have like really romantic gestures. Does that make sense?
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say that I think we're quite consistent in terms of we're not massively up and down, like... We don't have super like romantic, spontaneous, like, you know, trips anywhere, but I'd say that our like base level is higher than base level of love and affection is higher.
Yeah, I'd say we make a conscious effort every single day to spend time with each other, to communicate with each other. We book special trips away, we do a lot of stuff together, but I wouldn't say we do any like big romantic gestures. There's no like cuddly teddy bears and rose petals, and
we got an
I don't know
dog,
what else,
like an actual real dog. Who needs a cuddly teddy bear when you've got an actual dog?
Our dogs do like that teddy bears, to be fair. Right, we've had this question quite a lot. Any marriage plans?
We have this all the time, don't we? Every time we do a Q&A. I can't wait until the point where potentially we do get married, and then that is no longer a question.
I'm going to sum this up really quickly. We've spoken about getting married. We'd like to get married. We've had a lot of other stuff going on. I feel like we focused on our kind of careers, getting on the property ladder, getting to a certain place in our life that we want to be. I don't think marriage is a huge priority for either one of us. We would like to, and I'd say that we're both not like massive wedding people.
Yeah.
If we were to get married, we wouldn't want a huge wedding. So it would be nice to be married, but the whole wedding thing, I wouldn't say is like particularly exciting to either one of us.
Yeah, definitely. I second that. I mean, it's one of those things that people say, oh, are you guys going to get married soon? And for me, it's not about getting married. Like, getting engaged would be cool, I think.
Would it? Would it?
But
why don't you do it then? No, I'm joking. That's a joke. That's a joke.
No, I will say, I mean, obviously you could disagree with this, but I was going to say if the old C word hadn't happened and sort of locked us up for a couple of years, I would have liked to have thought that we would be engaged by now. That isn't the case, so maybe watch the space, who knows?
Yeah, for me, like, I've always said this, I think there's a difference between a wedding and a marriage.
Yeah.
We would like to be married, but I don't think it would change a lot for us. We already have so many commitments in our life that kind of like tie us together.
100%.
Like, would I like to be engaged? Yes, that is like a sign of commitment.
Yeah.
But I think even if we got engaged tomorrow, I couldn't imagine that we'd be like, let's start planning the wedding. Because we just have so much other stuff going on.
Yeah, for
that
sure.
I think we both prioritise above that. So yeah, would like to do it just whenever it happens. Next question is, who is the saver and who is the spender?
Louise is the saver, I'm the spender. Louise spends more money, as in buys, you know, things on Amazon. She's the one who spends the money buying all the stuff for the house. But I am quite reckless with money when it comes to stupid stuff that you actually don't have anything to show for it, like takeaways. Like takeaways, yeah. I'm really bad with takeaways and spending money on food out and stuff like that. I'm really quite bad with that. Whereas you're much more reserved and stuff like that. So whilst I'd say you spend more money, you're definitely better with it.
Yeah, I was going to agree with that. I'm both basically. So I track all of my spending.
Yeah.
And I like saving money and being on top of my money, but I also spend a lot, but I'm also like really savvy with how I spend my money and like making sure I'm getting a good price for stuff. So like, but I don't think any of our spending, apart from like even the house stuff, it's like not flamboyant. We're not into designer things. Like, we like going on holiday. That's where our saved money normally goes on like investing into the house or like holidays and memories.
For sure.
I don't think we're like really materialistic where we buy loads of...
No, I don't think so.
Things like that. So yeah. And then last kind of like us thing that's not about the house.
Okay.
What do we do as jobs? We've answered this before, so we'll have to like sum it up super quick. You go.
Cool. So probably since the last time that we've done one of these Q&As, I've actually changed job again. Last time we did one, I was just about to change job, or I just changed job. I've changed job again. I went to work for a much smaller startup company. Didn't work out, so I spoke to the old company that I was with, and they have taken me back. Slightly different role. So my title is Sales Enablement Manager. So my job is to act as like the link between sales and marketing, making sure our sales team have everything they need, basically.
So yeah, you come from like a marketing background, basically, don't you?
Yeah.
And I am a UX UI designer, so I design websites and apps and stuff, digital stuff.
Wow, you've really sold it.
It's been a long day and I couldn't really be bothered to talk about it, to be honest. So like, that is it in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Right, now let's move on to the huge list of house questions.
That is a long list. Okay, cool.
We're going to try and whip through these as fast as possible because I feel like I do. Well, we both have a bit of a tendency to waffle. So first question, how long do you intend on keeping the bungalow? You go first.
Not long at all. We've
It's already on the market, guys.
No, it's one of those, right? This was never going to be our forever home, so we're on a shorter fixed-term mortgage.
We're on a 2-year initial rate with our mortgage.
Yep.
So we would be looking to potentially put it on the market in 2 years' time.
Yeah. So the plan was come in here, completely renovate the place, and within that 2-year period, and then go from there, basically. So. We like the area, I think. I assume that is potentially a question coming up.
I think like, basically we couldn't afford what we wanted this time around. We thought we would be able to, and we couldn't. So that's why we are looking to stay here for less time than we had hoped for.
Yeah.
So we were thinking that the next house would be like a 5 to 10 year house. It didn't work out that way. The housing market's
crazy,
gone up loads, so this is what we could afford. We saw value in it, so we're going to kind of basically flip it. Yeah,
it's basically a little interim step until we get to where we ultimately wanted to be but couldn't afford to get there when we moved, basically.
Yeah. Next question, are you happy living in Wales?
I love Wales so far.
Yeah, we both absolutely love it, to be honest.
I get asked this question a lot because my job is still based in Bristol, so I get asked the question a lot, and I have nothing negative to say about this area. Obviously, a lot of my friends and my family are still Bristol based, but even then, it's been an hour in the car to go and see people.
It hasn't really been an issue so far, has it?
No, so...
We've had people come here, we've gone to... Like, it's not that far, and I feel like even the main thing that we were worried about was friends and family. That was like the only thing that was a slight concern.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, traffic and getting around in Bristol is awful anyway. That where we would have gone to, living in Wales hasn't actually like increased our travel time like by that much.
No.
We still would have had to have driven like at least half an hour to go and see certain people anyway, so...
Yeah, I mean, even then, before we moved, my mum lived around 4 to 5 miles away from our house, and it would take 20 to 30 minutes to get there.
Yeah.
I did the trip in a different direction, obviously coming from Wales, and it's, 45 plus miles, and I did it in under an hour, so...
Yeah, we were up there the other day. It took us 50 minutes to get there.
Yeah.
So it really isn't that bad. And it is really funny, actually. We were literally talking about this the other day, where I've said that I get asked quite a lot if we think that we will stay in Wales, and obviously we've only lived here, like in specifically Cardiff.
3 months.
Yeah, we've only lived here a couple of months, so like, obviously I'm not going to be like, oh no, we'll definitely move out of Cardiff because we've only lived here a couple of months.
Yeah.
But what I did say is that when we move, like having lived here for a couple of months, I couldn't imagine living anywhere else now. And I didn't have that feeling when we bought our other houses. You know what I've been like, I've always kind of been open to living kind of anywhere within reason.
Yeah.
Like, I've never been particularly tied to an area, but this is the first time I felt like I just couldn't imagine living anywhere else now. No, and as I said, don't hold me to that though. Yeah. Ask me in 2 years' time.
Yeah, I mean, for us, obviously we like the area and stuff like that, but I think from my point of view, at the very least, the next house that we buy will be about the house. It's not specifically about the area as much, I don't think.
It's about everything.
Okay, it's about everything.
You're wrong, it's about everything.
Okay.
Yeah. I know what you mean, like this one we bought like the worst house in the best area.
Yeah.
Next time we would hope to do something similar but on a bigger scale, basically.
Correct. Yeah.
Next question, are you enjoying the renovation work? It looks very exciting but very tiring.
Yes and no from my perspective. I am a sucker for seeing progress. So, we've recently had the ceilings plastered. That is a big thing for me. Just being able to go into a room and seeing stuff really change. So I love seeing the progress side of stuff. I hate doing stuff because I feel like I'm going to break things. I'm going to ruin the house. I have no confidence in doing any form of DIY myself. And when I have done it, I find it really tiring. So, yeah.
Oh god, yes, you're not very confident doing DIY, to be fair.
No.
So, am I enjoying the renovation work? I mean, I don't enjoy doing the things, but I get satisfaction out of having it done.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So I am really enjoying it. I love planning it out. I've done all my costings on a spreadsheet. I really get into all of that kind of stuff. You know, I'm just very particular about stuff, and I like being super organised and weird about it. And I love shopping for everything. I really enjoy that. But yeah, like, I'd say I am enjoying it, but I feel like recently we're at the point where we've had a couple of delays.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're not at the point that I thought we would be at. We're only like a couple of weeks behind where we thought we would be. But stuff like that is like, I get really impatient and I'm like, why is this not done yet? Which is so stupid because for the amount of time we've been here, we've done so much. So yeah, I am enjoying it, but I'm definitely getting really like antsy about getting the kitchen done, basically, in particular.
Yeah.
So yeah, and yes, it is tiring. It is tiring juggling like YouTube. We both have YouTube channels. We both have full-time jobs. We're both like renovating. We're not doing all of the work ourselves. We're doing a lot of it. Like recently we've had electricians in, but it is really tiring trying to stay on top of everything at the same time.
Yeah.
But I don't think we would have it any different.
No, I don't think so either.
No. How different are you finding it moving from a new build to an older property?
I mean, the older property has some quirks, like the floor's not level.
I prefer it so much more. This is one of the things, is like when we bought our last house, it was a really good step for us, but I always got frustrated because I felt like I couldn't properly put my stamp on it.
Right.
You can decorate rooms, you definitely can put your stamp on it, but there were certain things like the layout, like, oh, I would have done that differently, or I would have done this differently, and we knew we were never going to stay there for a long time, so there would be zero point in us making any major changes. Like, I was never in love with the kitchen, but there's no point changing it. Whereas here, I feel so much happier because I just have free reign to do whatever I want, basically. We're starting from scratch here, like everything has to kind of change within reason. So it's kind of opened up a lot of kind of possibilities with how we want to change things and how we want to live.
Yeah.
So I prefer it. Obviously, there are a lot more quirks with an older property, but I touch wood, I don't think we've had anything really bad yet.
No.
Even things that we were worried about, like the windows need to be replaced, and they are going to be replaced.
Yep. We
were worried they were going to be really drafty and horrible, and they're not.
They're actually not too bad. No, it's just they're being replaced because they're old and
they're not safety glass.
They don't fit the aesthetic. Yeah, the aesthetic. Do they fit the aesthetic?
They don't. They're
right,
brown.
There you go. And yeah, as Louise said, they're not safety glass. So, for instance, the window in our lounge could be potentially dangerous should someone fall into it, which is possible, I guess. So
Milo jumped onto the windowsill the other day and smashed into the glass, and I was terrified. He's so small that I doubt he would ever crack it. But
if I were to jump into the glass,
yes,
that'd be an issue.
He would probably crack it.
Yeah.
Right. Next question. How are you feeling about the move and renovation now that you are partway through?
Move was stressful.
I think the lead up to the move was stressful in the fact that we were meant to complete like 4 months before.
Yeah.
And to the point where we put all of our stuff in storage because we were told 100%. So like, if we hadn't have put all of our stuff in storage and if our like estate agents, solicitors, everyone hadn't reassured us we were 100% going to be completing, then, you know, we wouldn't have put our stuff in storage if it weren't for that.
Well, not that early at the very least.
Yeah, like, but that put a massive stress on us, especially around Christmas and feeling in that weird limbo. That was so stressful. Yeah. But I do feel like as soon as we moved in, it was just like,
oh, weight off, let's get going with the project. Yeah.
And since then we've not felt stressed about it whatsoever, have we?
No.
So yeah, pretty positive about it. I think it's going well so far. Like, obviously we were nervous about a couple of things, like whether huge issues would crop up. Yep. Obviously we moved in, the heating didn't work, so that was like a bit of an issue, but I just kind of embraced it.
That feels like ages ago now.
Yeah.
Really does. When we didn't have a room, we were sleeping on mattresses on the floor again for the 3rd or 4th month in a row.
Yeah.
But yeah, since then, it's been pretty good. I'd say.
I mean, we're only a few months in, so ask us in another couple of months and maybe it'll change, I don't know. How are you affording to do all the work at the same time? I'll take this one.
You go.
So basically, we made a bit of money on our old house just because that area in particular went up in value, and it was just, I don't think we bought it to be a smart move, but it turned out to be a pretty smart move. And basically, the house that we've bought was actually quite a bit under what we could have afforded.
Yeah.
So we could have borrowed £100,000 more basically. But what we found that when we were looking was that there was houses just out of reach for us price-wise, and there was a lot more like here and nothing in between. So basically, we bought the bungalow for like a lot less than what we could afford, but it also meant that we could release a bit of equity that we had in our house. So we the house that we bought, that we live in now, is actually the same value as what we sold our old house for, but we obviously took a chunk of cash out and borrowed a little bit more. So that's one thing that we kind of said, was that doing the whole renovation thing, I've got so much respect for people who like save up whilst they're doing it, and it takes so much willpower to do that. I feel like we would struggle because we're impatient and because we're impatient. So like, we always knew that moving into a renovation that we would want to have a little pot of cash that we could just start doing stuff. And we kind of talked about different scenarios, like, well, maybe we would just release a little bit of cash and save up so we can do a bit of the work or whatever. It just so happened that because this was so comfortable of a purchase for us, that we were able to withdraw the whole amount of money that we needed so we could just get it done. So that is how we are doing it. So we haven't taken out any extra loans or anything like that. We didn't want to do that. We didn't feel comfortable doing that. But yeah, hopefully this is kind of like setting us up for the next one, because the profit that we should make, touch wood, should be enough to kind of boost us up into the house that we want to be in. So for the next house, potentially we may not have, I'd always say move into, like, push it when you're moving house.
100%.
Get the, like, push it and try and get the best house that you can get. It's very unlike us to buy something that was so comfortable in our price range, because I just think if you're going to move, make sure you move and really go for it. But we tried, and everything on the market was like 50k more than what we could borrow, and we wouldn't have any, like,
it was just
we then have to renovate it on top of that.
It was just that little bit out of reach, and then, as you said, not being able to see, it was a little bit out of reach, and the properties weren't how we'd want them at that price level.
We were always going to move into a renovation project, so, like always. We
just had to make the decision of, you know, knowing that where we were going to move into wasn't going to be our forever home, renovate it, try and make some profit on it, and then go again in a few years' time. But
at the same time, like, we weren't, not that we weren't happy in the house that we were in, but we'd clocked out and we wanted to move, and we knew that we couldn't add any value to that house. It was kind of a bit stagnant for us, so that kind of like spurred it on. I feel like that was a really long-winded way of answering that question. Do you have a time scale of when you think you'll have the house as you want it? The plan is to get majority of the work done within the first year. We want to renovate for a year, live in it for a year, and actually enjoy it once it's renovated. We've invited people here for Christmas, so that's kind of put a little bit of a time scale on it. But like,
that would be around a year, because we moved in a January, so Christmas is, you know, that gives us a decent 11.5 months to figure some stuff out. And to be honest, I think, you know, at the time of recording is towards the end of March. I think we've made some really good progress.
We're hoping to have the kitchen done like next month, basically. That's a massive project, and the ensuite is going to be soon after that as well, because the shower in our bathroom is on its way out. So that's kind of brought that forward a little bit. So yeah, like, and also it depends what you class as like finished, like 100% finished. I feel like we'll have a long list of kind of like small jobs to go for quite a while, but we're hoping that majority of it will be done in the first year, but also we want to make sure that we're not pushing it and not enjoying the renovation.
Yep.
We don't have to get it done super quick, as long as it's done in 2 years' time.
Yep.
I think we'll be fine.
That's the timescale.
Yeah. Have you had any disagreements when deciding on things for the house?
I don't think so, but that's because I usually allow you to make decisions. You do this thing though, where Louise will have her opinion in her mind and then ask me, do I like option A or option B? When she isn't 100% certain on something. So she'll say to me, Steve, do you like option A or option B? And then I will give her my answer, and then that will allow her to determine which one she actually wants.
So if he said B and I kind of felt that like, oh, then I'd be like, oh, I really want option A. So I feel like, yeah, you trust me to make those decisions.
Yeah.
I don't feel like there's anything that you've been like categorically no. I do make all the decisions that come to design and stuff. That's what I like, and you don't enjoy that process as much. So like it's just kind of fallen onto me, but we kind of like it that way. So yeah, like we've not really had any disagreements. We had a really stupid bicker about which socket to plug the extension cord in the other day. Like those are the kind of disagreements we have. So
I think we're both tired then. I think that played into it a little bit. But yeah.
Just like we will bicker about stupid little things that just don't even matter than anything else. Next question. One piece of advice for others that would improve their experience
of renovating
or house buying, I guess, whatever you want. I can't just give one, I've got like so many.
Oh, go for it then. If you start talking, and I'll see if I can think of anything whilst you're talking.
One thing I touched on the other day when we did our like house update video is not putting so much pressure on yourself.
Yeah.
So I really struggle with that, where I was like, we're gonna decorate this room, it's gonna take us a day, it's gonna be done. And it would take us like 3 days, and I'd get really irritated, like, why is it taking so long? Put loads of pressure on myself. Oh, I thought it'd be done by now. And it doesn't matter. So like not putting really strict deadlines on yourself as to when to get things done, and just kind of go with the flow a little bit more. Because I find that when I put strict time pressures on myself, I rush things and I don't do as good of a job. And then I get pissed off because the finish isn't how I like it.
Yeah.
So that's something that I'm trying to work on. I'd say log everything on a spreadsheet, everything that you're going to spend, make a note, put it on a spreadsheet. No, but things add up. They add up so much. Like even buying our light switches, when you think about how many that you need and like plug sockets and stuff, and actually you look at the bill at the end of the day and you're like, wow, I did not think of that. And I'd say when you are budgeting, don't forget the small things, because we were like, oh yeah, kitchen this much, bathroom this much, but we didn't think about just general kind of paint
stuff
supplies.
That's everywhere.
Like lights, light switches, like, oh, my camera cut us off. But yeah, what I was gonna say is like all the small things that you just kind of think, oh yeah, it's only a light switch. You have to think about multiples. Whoa. And how they all add up basically. But yeah, I think that's all of the advice I can think of. I'm sure I've got more, but all of these I can do in a separate video at some point, like maybe at the end of the renovation we can do like a what we learned video. Like I'm planning on doing like a full-on spend video anyway. Like we don't really mind talking about money when it comes to how much we spent, and I feel like there isn't enough out there. So we will do another video where we fully go through everything that we spent as well, because I do think that would be really helpful, and that kind of stuff would have been helpful for us.
Yeah, 100%.
When we were trying to budget for renovations and stuff. So we're happy to be like totally transparent with that. Okay, right, speaking about money stuff, how much is your new kitchen?
Well, you need to take this one as you are the queen of the spreadsheet.
I made a note of this earlier so I would know. Okay, so all of our units on our worktop, units and worktops only, was 4,295. if you include all of the appliances and everything, but not including fitting, so we're talking units, worktops, like sink, tap, fridge, oven, all of that jazz, we are going to be spending £10,434. We have gone for the solid laminate worktop, which is an upgrade to the laminate, but not the laminate, but not quartz.
Yeah.
Kind of price tag. And then another question: how much have you spent on the renovation so far? How much do you think we spent on the renovation? Like, what's actually left our bank account?
I'm stun locked. £12,000.
Shut up. You've seen that?
No.
You've seen that?
No, I haven't.
You've
On
seen
my
that?
life. No, I haven't.
You swear?
Genuinely haven't seen that. Let's go.
I literally made a note. About £12,000. And I will say that there's been a lot of things that obviously you guys won't have seen. That includes... What?
I was right, Milo.
I can't believe you got that. I swear you've looked at that.
On my life, I haven't looked at that.
Okay, I believe you.
I saw the price for the kitchen stuff, but I didn't see that.
Oh, right. You sure you've not, like, subconsciously looked?
Oh,
anyway, it doesn't matter. What matters
right.
is that we spent £12,000, which obviously sounds like a crazy amount. So that includes all of our kitchen stuff, which obviously I've just told you is about 10 grand. But there's been a lot of stuff like you guys wouldn't have seen. Hang on, is that right? That doesn't seem like much now that I think about it.
So what does that include? Does that include all the kitchen stuff, the boiler, the purchases for the ensuite?
Yeah. Okay, so I'm just editing this now and I've realised I completely told you the wrong number. I don't know how I've managed to come to that number because obviously it definitely doesn't add up. So our kitchen we've already paid for is about 10 grand. So the grand total of everything that we've spent so far is actually 22,680. Like I said, though, I know that sounds like a crazy amount, but that's paid for a lot of stuff like the plastering or the electrics. We started ordering stuff for our ensuite. That's actually all paid for now. And we've put down deposits for things like our windows and stuff like that as well. So that is a really, really high amount. But obviously a lot of that stuff we don't have anything to show for just yet. Does Steve mind you doing most of the house updates, or is it a timing issue? I think that means like doing the actual work.
No, I don't mind at all. Oh no, sorry Louise, I have to go to the office again. Like tomorrow when it's painting day.
Yeah, like with stuff, like I'm happy to crack on with stuff. Steve helps me with what he can help me with.
I'm good at demo. You
didn't have time to help me. Well, actually, neither one of us had time to do any painting today at all. So like that, I've got a bit of time tomorrow. That's why I'm going to start painting tomorrow.
Yep.
Steve's not here, but I'm not going to wait for Steve to be here to crack on with stuff.
We're trying to save like huge jobs. I say huge, like bigger physical jobs to when we can do it together, like when we tackle the garden on the weekend.
So like
and stuff.
Demo stuff, like the kitchen flooring you guys would have seen in the last video. Steve ripped that up. I tried to do it myself. I just struggled too much, so Steve obviously stepped in there. So you have done and do a lot of the demo stuff. You've stepped in when it's like wallpapering, but you don't enjoy and don't feel comfortable doing some of the jobs that I'm willing to tackle, like the carpeting and like doing the skirting board and stuff like that. Like, you don't want to do it, and I don't want to pay someone to do it, so I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And that's just how we kind of work.
Yeah, it works well for me.
Of course it works well for you. Where to go for a kitchen on a budget. So first place that we went was Ren, and I think Ren, you definitely can get some decent kitchens on a budget. Depends which kind of finish you go for. For us, they weren't actually that cheap. I've heard mixed reviews about Ren, so I'll just put that out there. We also took a look at Magnet. There are some really affordable options at Magnet as well. Howden's, I've heard, is more pricey, but they will price match. So if you ever find a kitchen you like at Howden's, we spoke to our contractor about this the other day basically, they will price match anything. If you say, what he said was, if you go, give me your best price, they'll do a little bit of a discount. But if you go, oh, well, I've been here and they said it'd be this much, they'll try and price match it.
Yeah.
So a lot of places you've got to kind of try your luck and just ask for a bit discount. We've obviously gone with IKEA, which for us was like by far, in terms of like units and stuff, was so much cheaper.
But it was also exactly what we wanted, wasn't it? Pretty
yeah,
much.
we basically like what we wanted. The only options was like Ren and IKEA.
Very
like that
different
matte
ends
black.
of the scale.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, Ren's not like super bougie. Only if you go for like the top end one, which we would have had to have done to get that finish. There is also somewhere called DIY Kitchens. They're an online kitchen provider. They are really, they are pretty affordable. I don't know anyone who's used them, so I can't say whether they're decent or not. But those are just a few of the kind of options that we looked at. Oh, Wicks. Wicks are actually quite affordable.
They just didn't have what we wanted.
They didn't do the really big drawer units that we wanted. And also for our renovation project that we did a couple of years ago, we went to Selco for the kitchen and got an absolute bargain of a kitchen.
That's a nice kitchen as well.
Yeah, so it very much depends on what kind of finish you want. If you're happy to go for more of what is considered like a basic kind of style kitchen, then there are loads of places you can get it super cheap. Annoyingly, I feel like what we've ordered, not many people do that.
Yeah.
So that's why we were kind of limited. But yeah, hopefully there's a few options there. Where do you see yourselves living in 5 years' time? I feel like we've kind of touched on this already, haven't we?
Yeah, no firm plans, but at the moment, loving where we are.
That's so we live in Llysfaen in Cardiff. So anyone who's local probably know, like, we really like the area. It's really, really nice. It's a good combination of like being near the city, but also like we're on the outskirts, so there's loads of nice walks around here. We're not far from the countryside. We're really close to the motorway to get back to Bristol, so we would love to specifically stay in this area. I think another area that we kind of looked at when we were moving here was 𝘬𝘮𝑎𝑐𝑜𝑦𝑑. So maybe like, again, they're very close.
It's,
so
it's still that like northeast Cardiff area.
Yeah, so I imagine we'd be living somewhere in around this vicinity. We might even venture to the side of the motorway, who knows?
Maybe, yeah. I mean, we've got a couple of friends moving to Wales as well, which is going to be nice for us to have people a little bit closer. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you never know what the future's going to bring, but as I said, very happy where we are right now, I'd say.
Yeah. Definitely. Like I said before, I can't imagine not living here now, which is so bizarre for me because I'm definitely like, I'm someone who's grown up in loads of different places, so I've never felt particularly tied to an area, whereas you grew up in Bristol.
Yeah.
So this is the first place I think I've moved and I'm like, I just couldn't imagine not living here now.
Yeah.
So it's really weird, but again, we'll see. In 5 years' time, we'll do another Q&A and see.
5 years' time, okay.
Well, if we're still going on YouTube, you never know.
Yeah.
Right, couple of practical questions, which I will answer. Best affordable places for flooring. We ordered from Discount Flooring. We got our carpets from Carpetright just because they had a sale on. I think always just look for sales. Like Discount Flooring always have discount codes. So just kind of look in advance and look for voucher codes. I'll do another little plug for Honey because that has saved us a lot of money. It's a browser, I don't work with them and I wish I did. It's a browser extension that will scan the internet for discount codes. So you should press a little button and it's like,
so good.
Discount code, and it will save you money.
The dog will
Not all the time, but most of the time it will. So yeah, Discount Flooring. Oh, there was another one that I can't remember. I basically just searched for like, you know, like laminate flooring, and it was like the first 5 links on what's it called, Google. We did look at B&Q before, but we've ordered a cheap floor from B&Q for the renovation project we did, and we weren't that happy with the quality of it, to be honest.
No.
So yeah, just shop around, see what sales are on. Yeah, and also like obviously if you're using people to fit the flooring, ask their recommendation as well. They might know local people who do a really 100%. Good rate. We're doing the flooring ourselves, so we just went rogue and ordered it. Best affordable paint brand. Our go-to tends to be 𝙍𝘍𝑆pA. We go to B&Q and we use the 𝙍𝘍𝑆pA. It's the silver one. Don't get the super cheap one because it's shocking. But at the same time, I wouldn't bother getting an expensive one unless you're using it in like a kitchen or a bathroom or like a high traffic area. I think it's called like the V200 or something like that. They also colour match, which is really helpful.
Super helpful.
Not affordable, but coat, we've really enjoyed our coat paints that we got.
Yep.
And you love it, Rocky's like going under the footstool. Also, Leyland trade paint is really good as well, and they're pretty well priced for more like your kind of basic. Stop!
I've
you
got.
Want to know such.
Yeah, I know. It's just you're saying this, and I have no idea.
Well,
I knew
listen.
I knew 𝙍𝘍𝑆pA.
Listen and
I knew 𝙍𝘍𝑆pA, but that
yeah.
was it.
So Leyland trade, like if you're looking for just normal like white emulsion paint or wood paint, like for your doors or skirting and stuff, that is a really good brand to go for. I haven't really used Dulux very much, but I know a lot of people do. But also we've used a couple of times the Good Home paint from B&Q. That's super budget, but it's actually pretty decent for the amount of money you pay. So that was the last question.
Wow.
So yeah, quite a few there.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
Hopefully we've asked, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. Hopefully we've answered them all like in enough detail. I'm sure we have because we just blab on loads.
Yeah.
But yeah.
If you've got any more, let us know in the comments and Louise will answer them.
Thanks for that.
That's true. No,
yeah, no, I will answer anything you want to know. We'll answer. So ask away if we've missed anything. But yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video and you've gotten a little bit more insight into
Reno life.
Our lives and our renovation journey. If you guys want to kind of follow along with the renovation journey, don't forget to subscribe and like this video because it really supports my channel, and we will see you guys in the next one. Say it, go on.
Bye!
Bye.